So I'm going to be doing an Orbital Strike guide so you can stop killing your friends, yourself, and me. So I'll start with the most common misconception of Orbital Strikes and the fact that the orientation of your ship plays a large part into how and where your bombs land. Both cast a complete circle, like so. The minimum safe distance from the 380 is going to be 60 meters. The minimum distance from the 120 is going to be 45 meters. These also correlate to your blast radiuses inside of the circle. So the reason friendly fire happens is because you deploy them when your friends are inside of the blast radius. You know what orbital barrage is coming, so you should be prepared to be at least that far away from the blast radius. Orbital gatling barrage is just a circle, and it is high explosive rounds. They have medium armor penetration. Not good for chargers, but okay for small groups of enemies. I would say once you obtain more things over the orbital gatling barrage, there's just better options in most scenarios. So it rains down quite a bit. The hits are relatively random, and it comes from the direction of wherever the ship is at an angle, but that doesn't really matter that much. The EMS strike is a static field. This is really good. If you're trying to set off a hell bomb, it would be lucrative to put an EMS strike in between the enemies and the hell bomb, and you would set off the hell bomb on the other side of the EMS strike. It's also really good for just straight up riding away from a group of enemies or a charger. A charger runs way faster than you, so if you're just trying to get away, EMS strike them. So here the enemies are on my left side, and I have fired an EMS strike, and they cannot pass through the EMS strike to get to me. Next up is the gas strike. It is not poisonous, it is corrosive. It does work on both robots and bugs, but typically robots just have more health, so it will feel less effective against the robots than it does the bugs. If with a direct hit from a gas strike, it is quite effective. The gas does linger, so don't walk into it or you will die. So the walking barrage has a very lengthy 380 essentially. The walking barrage is a direct line with 35 meters of minimum safe distance within the first blast radius. This is multiplied times 3 and will look something similar to this. This is approximately 90 meters away from this starting point. If you have the orbital barrage ship module where you get an extra barrage, the extra barrage happens on the third blast radius. You do not get a fourth blast radius with the walking barrage. So if you see this, stay this far away and you won't die. Now, this is really good for if you're trying to get into a facility and do something, you can walking barrage your way into it because there will be very few things left alive on your way to the facility. If you were to combine this with an EMS strike or a smoke screen on the back end, it's very easy to infiltrate something and then get out the same way you got in. So the Airburst strike is good against smaller enemies, but only hordes of enemies really. If you're fighting something like a Hulk or a Charger, it won't really do that much damage to them. It will still damage them, but not their like outer shell or their head. Maybe a little bit to their arms. It might blow an arm off if you're lucky. It strikes in bullets of 5 at a time, so 5 times 3 if you have the ship module. The smoke screen has its own uses. If you're in a tight spot and you really need to like walk around enemies, or you really need to access a terminal, a smoke screen is very good for that, but it's not very good for killing enemies. It's good for evasion mostly and fulfilling an objective. The laser is incredibly useful. If you're trying to take down a large enemy or a bunch of small enemies, the laser is definitely worth its salt. It just automatically targets the enemies in the radius of the laser itself. It will also take out structures as well. So as like the automatons, it will destroy the structures inside of them. And then if you really want to move through or evade, you have the smoke screen, EMS, walking barrage. You have a plethora of options for orbital strikes. The orbital Railcannon strike, it is a one and done, and it essentially just targets the largest monster around you. Now, unfortunately, although chargers are more aggressive, if the enemy is higher, it will attack that enemy. So if you have a L.A.S.E.R and it just is on a rock or something and you throw a Railcannon strike, it won't attack the charger because the L.A.S.E.R is at a higher level. Just keep a safe distance away from your orbitals and don't deploy your orbitals when your friends are around. Honestly, the best loadouts are going to be the orbital walking barrage because its just breadth and length of destruction is vast. The Railcannon strike, it will one-shot Biotitans and chargers. Sometimes it'll miss the death shot on the Biotitan, but leave it very vulnerable. The orbital precision strike is essentially just 1 380 wherever you want it. It's not really... Oh my god, did I not do the precision strike? And then the last one is the orbital precision strike. Now, the Orbital Precision Strike is good for like a factory base or something, but it's not really good against a moving target. Even if you manage to stick it to the target that's moving, it's not going to be able to hit it. It misses more time than it hits. So if you're thinking the Orbital Precision Strike is going to be good against Chargers and Biotitans, it won't really be. You can one-shot a Biotitan, but only if your timing is like perfect and the Biotitan hits you perfectly. So that was my guide on Orbitals. If you like it, like it. If you don't, tell me why. And let me know if I missed something. And let me know some of your favorite tips and tricks for Orbitals specifically in the comments, if you got any.